In this video I'm going to teach you how you can make your own pack for expensive weaponry and how to add your own armors. So before we start, I assume you have some basic modeling knowledge and you have already set up IntelliJ. So the first thing we can do is to set up the folders. Then you just make a new directory, call it whatever you want. I use 3 letters to describe shortly my name. Let's say testing pack tutorial, for example. Enter here. Then under there you need a new directory. Let's call this armor. This is where the .json files are supposed to be. Then click on this again and new directory. Assets. This is where textures and models are supposed to be. New directory. Expansive Weaponry. New directory. And textures. This is where our item textures are. And this is where item textures for armors are. You can also make guns, vehicles, helicopters, stuff like that with this mod. So they all have their own folders here. And then we also have a new one for skins. This is the model texture where it's supposed to be. New directory. And this is where OBG model is supposed to be. Oh, hit wrong location. Let me just drag it up. Delete it. Like that. Yes. So now we're done here. Then you just head over to your favorite modeling program and make your model. In this tutorial I'm going to use Blockbench because it's my preferred modeling program for Minecraft. But you can use whatever program you want as long as it can export OBG models. So the first thing I do when making an armor is to press Minecraft skin, create model, make sure this is unchecked, and confirm. This model can't be changed on or edited in any way because it's just for making player skins. So what I do is press File, Convert Project, and into a generic model. So now you're stuck here with this, and you can add stuff like this. So now you just make the armor you want. In this video I'm going to make a hat. So now that I'm done with my model, I can delete this player model because it's only for a reference. We are not going to actually use it. Delete, delete, delete. You can also delete the texture. So now if we're going to make a new texture to it, you select all the parts, create new texture, confirm, and then you just paint it however you want. So there we are done. Now you save the texture and your model somewhere and yeah, ready to use them later. And now when we are going to export the hat, remember to export as OBG model. Now we have a model and we have a model texture. The next thing we want, that is an item texture. So then you just use your preferred painting program and make an item texture. These numbers should be the same size. I think you can use whatever size you want, but just stick with 16, 32, 64. In this example I'm going to use 16. So now that I have my item texture, I just save it where I want. So now we have to align the model to make sure it works fine in Minecraft and is at the proper space, proper position. First thing you do, delete this, and then you press File, Import, OBJ. Then you select the player reference model I have in the description. So now I have imported the player reference. If you press 1 on the numpad, you are seeing the player from behind. Even though it says front here, it's not the front. It's positioned upside down for some reason. I don't know why, that's just how it works. Then you want to import your model. So now you have your model here, and as you can see it's very small. What I do to get it to work is press size and then 16. That will make it the proper size. Then you press R to rotate, and then X, never mind, Y for the Y axis, and you press 180. And now we just have to drag it down by pressing G, and then Z to only move it on the Z axis. Like there, that looks good. If you press 1 on the numpad, we can see, yes, the back side of the model is on the back side of the player. That's good. Now we can delete the reference. Press delete. And now we have to do what's important. These have to be one part. So press both of them, Ctrl J, and now they will be one part. Then you press Tab, Ctrl and T to triangulate the faces. OBJ models require this, if not they are not going to work properly. So tab, and it cannot be named cube, then it will not show up when you have them imported into Minecraft. So if we take a look at the documentation, you can see here that there are different names it needs to be called. Those are for the different item slots they are going to be placed in. For example, head, chest, legs and feet. Those are vanilla Minecraft slots. Upper face, lower face, vest, backpack, gloves and so on. Those are added by Expansive Weaponry. So if we head back, we can rename this by double clicking, type head, lowercase, then uppercase M, model. And if you press this arrow here, it will show this, which needs to be named exactly the same thing. Head, model. So now we are done with this one. Now we can export it as an OBJ. And this is the model we are going to use in our pack. Now that we have everything we need, we can start adding things into IntelliJ. But first there's something we forgot earlier that we have to do now. First thing is under Wavefront, new directory, and call this armor, and do the same thing for skins. And one final thing is press mod config and make sure generate content pack info is set to true. Then it will generate the language file and item model file by itself, so you don't have to do it manually. So the first thing we do is to write the .json file. Then you click here on the armor right below the content pack file, right click, new, and then file. Let's call this hat, and then you write .json to make sure it's a JSON file. And here we start to write our content pack info, or hat info. Press brackets first, like that. And then we start with internal name. This is what it's called internally, so it's the item texture you will use. Let's call this hat item. Write here the name of your item texture. Then we will use the load wave front. This is required if you use a OBJ model. If you don't use it, then you don't need this. But this tutorial is for OBJ, so I'm going to use it. And then you press true. Next is model, like that, model location. Here you write the name of your model, hat model, and then we start with the armor types. Bracket down like that, and this is a head model. Like we saw on the documentation earlier, you can write, for example, lower face, and this item will be put on the lower face to show on the player. But this is a hat, so it's on top of your head. Colon and new brackets. Here you press the type the display name, and here you write the name of your item. Oh, not mind that one. And this is a hat. Here you can use uppercase, whatever you want. And now that I think of it, this one cannot be uppercase. So let's just write it like that. Display name like that, yes. And now we have to do this. Model skins. And then this weird symbol like this. And then first skin, and here we are going to call skin assets. This is the name of the model skin, whatever you name it, whatever you name yours. So it's going to be hat skin. Like this one, I don't think this one can be uppercase, so just use lowercase letters. And lastly is the display name. So what this is used for is if you have multiple skins. I will not show how to do it in this tutorial, but for example if you also have a red hat, you can type red here and it will show under the item name. Just to demonstrate, I can write cool hat here. So that should be everything here. So now we just have to add our skin here, item or model texture, our model here, and our item texture here. Yeah, I noticed there's a mistake I made. It's not supposed to be skin assets, it's supposed to be skin asset. Now I have dragged my model and skins and item texture in, and as you can see it had the same name here, that in the JSON file, hat model, hat item, hat skin, hat skin. So now the only thing that remains is to test it. Then you just press the play button there, and it will start Minecraft. Now we're inside Minecraft, and you might notice it's going to crash the first time you try this, but that's because it's missing some files, the content pack. But if you remember to set generate content pack info to true, like I showed earlier in the video, it's going to work on the second try, because it automatically generates files it's missing. So if I check here now, create a tab and expansive weaponry, there you can see our hat, and you see skin, cool hat. That's because we set our display name to cool hat earlier. So if I take that one and put it on my head, you can see it's working fine. The item texture is working fine, the 3D model is working fine, and the model texture is working fine. So that's how you do that, and bye.